Hello folks, this is the Geopolitical Gamer and we are back with Regiments. For those who are new, I'm generally covering on my channel real-time strategy and tactics as well as simulator games centered around Cold War gone hot and alternate history modern military settings. So if this genre generally fits your vibe, feel free to subscribe to stay updated on any future video uploads of mine. But without any further ado, let's get right back to the game. And we are in the second phase of the first stage of the first operation of the Regiments campaign. So the first operation of Regiments is called Dissonance. So in the first phase, which we played out of Operation Dissonance, we were put in command of the Nationale Volksarmee, of the National People's Army of East Germany. So we were tasked with crushing down an uprising of defecting elements of the 4th Motorschützendivision near the German border. So these troops swear allegiance to what they call the Freie Republik Deutschland, so the Free Republic of Germany. So in the first stage of Operation Dissonance, we were specifically tasked to team up with elements of the 4th Motorschützendivision near the village of Lauterbach, which refused to defect to the forces of the FRD. So what we then did was that we cleared up any villages surrounding Lauterbach from forces of the Freie Republik Deutschland, so we can now establish a line to Lauterbach and in this phase support our loyalist elements of the 4th Motorschützendivision in fending off any counterattacks coming from the rebels. So unfortunately our last phase wasn't a complete cakewalk, so we experienced a nasty surprise attack from which we sustained also some losses, which we will now have to replenish within our battle preparations. But before we proceed with these, we will just briefly jump into the operation log to see whether or not we have any new messages. And indeed, we have 2 new entries in our operation log. And the first new entry is called Thorns, and it is issued by the headquarters of the 7th Panzer Division Militär Bezirk 3. And it says, "Rebels have reassessed the situation by now. Expect them to arrive in numbers and soon." Alright, so that's about the counterattack we were expecting. So let's jump to the second entry in our operation log, which is called Afghanistan. And it is again authored by James A. Goodwin, CIA. And it says, "When you look back, the whole thing seems almost inevitable, like a curse. First Afghanistan, like a small but lethal knife found for a suffocating Soviet empire. 40th Army tried to staunch the blood. The expanded deliveries of Milans and Stingers to the Mujahedin made it so much harder. Blood was in the water, and there were far too many young sharks out there, tired of old ways, tired of geriatric rulers. Confusion in Moscow, power-hungry elites, a populace that had enough, and millions of tons of munitions prepared for the apocalypse of World War III. You can hardly imagine a more volatile combination." Alright, so that's it regarding the operation log, so let's jump back to our battle preparations. So in the last phase we gained in total 82 operational authority, mainly for capturing different zones on the map, and we can spend this operational authority now on replenishing our losses, but also calling in more reinforcements and aid for our upcoming second phase. So as we are expecting a counterattack, what I want to especially do in this phase is that I want to replenish all my lost tanks. So I invest my operation authority in restoring my T-72 M1 platoon, the second one that I have, as well as the T-55As. I also want to invest into restoring my BTR-70 platoon with the ATGMs. And as you recall, within the surprise attack I countered in the last phase I also made heavy losses on my mortars, so I also want to restore them. And I now still have enough operational authority left to replenish also my Mi-24s, as well as my BTR-70 Schützen. So I think it's like we gained enough operational authority in the last phase to make up all losses again. Okay, so now we only have 37 operational authority remaining. So let's see whether or not this is enough for another task force, and we could in theory still get like the task force Apparat or the task force Tambov or task force Bereich, but we clearly lack the operational authority to do so. So we could either then go to invest our remaining operational authority into more aid and supplies, and indeed we could restock our supplies here, which are at a level of 530, and we could invest 25 operational authority to gain 200 more. So I think at the moment we are still we still have more than enough supplies available for the upcoming phase. So we will just head to the battle. But before we do so, we have to choose another random event for this upcoming phase. So I could either go with supply depot disruption, but which I don't want to do because we are expecting a counterattack. So instead, I will forego for one of the boosters. We could choose either divisional artillery or air superiority. So let's see. I think I will go with divisional artillery, so we will get an extra barrage tech aid in this upcoming phase, which I will think will help us fend off the rebel counterattack on Lauterbach. So I think that's a good choice. So that's all so far, and we can head to the battle. Alright, and we are back in the outskirts of Lauterbach. So what happened in the last phase was that we took the village of Bischofroda, we took the farmstead at position Volga, as well as this wooden patch here referred to as Hill 90, and we have now secured the road towards Lauterbach, and we can now team up with our allied forces of the 4th Motorschützen Division, which refused to defect to the forces of the Freie Republik Deutschland, so we can help them now in fending off any counterattacks. So as it is noon now, both the forces of the East German Republic as well as of the rebels have had their lunch, and they are both refreshed and energized to stand up and fight again on the battlefield. So it is a bit difficult for me to make an estimate on what I have to expect for this phase. So it could be that from the farm and the grove there are coming counterattacks which attempt to retake Bischofroda and deny us the road to Lauterbach again. And of course we will also have to reinforce Lauterbach here on the right side of the map. I think the best course of action for this phase might be if I send in the BTR-70 Schützen platoon towards Bischofroda, and I would then move the tanks mainly to Lauterbach. So I will put then here the BRDM-2 on this wooden hill here up, so it can do reconnaissance on any incoming forces that are moving towards Lauterbach. And I will also move the mortars here on the hill so they can provide further fire support on any troop movement incoming towards Hill 90 as well as Lauterbach. I will also move the supply trucks towards Lauterbach so they can further help the tanks replenish their ammo. So the ATGMs should help defend Lauterbach, but I think putting them here at the farmstead is not a good choice because they don't have anywhere to retreat from there. So I think they are probably better kept in Lauterbach itself. Alright, so that looks pretty much like a plan. So the last thing which remains on my list is that I have to give out the orders now. So the BRD M2 goes up on the hill with a fast move order to perform reconnaissance from up there. The T-55 will go to the outermost part of Lauterbach, so that's Lauterbach East. And I will move the ATGM here to the western part of Lauterbach. So both platoons of the T-72s will also go here to Lauterbach West. So if we get any counter-attack falling into our western flank, I have my more mobile forces ready to fend off any threats and support our troops in the outskirts. And the supply truck also goes to Lauterbach West. And the mortars go upon the wooden hill, as I said previously. And the Mi-24 can stay here in the section between Bischofrode and Lauterbach and basically play the role of a watchdog. Alright, and that's it. I gave all of my units in order, and let's go! So we already spotted an emplacement of tanks here. And we also received intelligence about 1 to 3 platoons going in for a counterattack. So the situation is already starting to heat up here. So I'm exchanging my T-55 platoon for the T-72 platoon. So the T-55s can protect us from any counterattack falling into our eastern flank. And I'm putting mortar fire on the tank emplacement to provide some additional fire support for our T-72s. So these T-72s are also heavily armored, so they can go to the farm. So I'm not too worried about them not being able to retreat in case they are encountering heavy resistance on this side. And I'm only a bit worried about the BRD-M2 having his sidelines blocked here by the farm and the small settlement. And I spotted here an artillery attack, so I'm giving them counter battery fire. So we also managed to destroy the rebel tanks. Yeah, but we are already encountering resistance there, so they are also smoking our position now, so I just took the T-72s back to Lauterbach. So our T-55s have also already taken up position in Lauterbach East and are doing a good job in suppressing dug-in mechanized infantry. So now that the smoke has settled, I pull in my T-72s again to attempt to suppress any forces near the facility. And I still don't know where the rebel platoons will be coming from. But that's probably a mystery I will still have to live with over the next minutes. So it might be just a platoon of mechanized infantry which might be dug in here, but I don't know for sure. So it's actually a reconnaissance platoon, but there's still something here on the right side. So let's put in there another artillery barrage. Yeah, and it looks like the mortars are also doing a good job in harassing this reconnaissance platoon. So my T-72s can then concentrate on damaging the enemy. What appears here to be another mechanized infantry platoon harasses my tanks a little bit too much, so I'm putting in there another artillery barrage. And I'm already seeing here that there's a rebel tank platoon inbound on hill 90. Alright, so the mechanized infantry is retreating, so I have now the opportunity to take the facility. And I would also like to take the clearing here. Even more platoons are coming now. So I sent back my T-72s back to Lauterbach, and instead I pull in my Mi-24s so they can get rid of the tanks. I think Lauterbach needs to be defended at all costs, so the T-72s are probably needed more there. And we already forced the enemy tank platoon to retreat.
Zone captured.
So I will send back my T-72 here to the supply depot, so they will come back fully repaired again. Oh, and the Mi-24 was able to take out a surface-to-air missile system. So I'm a bit worried as I don't know what's going on here on the left side on this hill where the grove and the farm are. So that's a big question mark for me. Yeah, and those worries proved to be true, so there's definitely a counterattack coming from this direction. So let's see whether I can flank these platoons of mechanized infantry with my Mi-24. Alright, and we already destroyed one platoon. But I need to be a bit careful as I don't know whether or not they have any further anti-air here. My reconnaissance platoon already took some heavy damage, so I need to retreat it. Yeah, and so far Lauterbach is now under attack. So I'm moving in with the Mi-24s so they can give some more additional fire support. Yeah, but I better retreat my helicopters as they are already running low on ammo. So I will reinforce Bischofroda and Point Volga with the T-72s and also with a platoon of BTR-70 Schützen. Yeah, let's see what else will be coming there. So I'm curious whether or not we can take the clearing here. Unfortunately, I don't have a good sight up on this position, but we will need to see, because it could be a freebie basically. So I will just need to peek with my T-55s here through the tree lines, and maybe there will be nothing there at all, so it could be a cakewalk. Yeah, it definitely looks good so far. Yeah, so some tanks and a platoon of BMPs are making an attack here on the Hill 90, so I put on them a heavy artillery barrage, and I also call in my Mi-24s. So I can just move in here and take the clearing, so that's quite beautiful actually. So it's looking quite nasty at Hill 90, so they are rushing our defensive positions. So I need to pull in the Mi-24s to get rid of them.
Zone captured.
And we were able to take the clearing here without any further resistance. Yeah, and it also looks like we were able to fend off the attack on Hill 90, but I still don't know what's up there on the hill. I really don't know, but we're already getting some counterfire. So we've taken the clearing. I actually think that's a quite lovely settlement here. Yeah, I really don't want to take the hill here as long as I don't have enough forces. So the Mi-24s are running low on ammo again, so I retreat them back to the supply depot. So what I'm probably going to do here is that I will deploy the BTR-70 platoon here at the facility so they can alert me of any incoming forces towards Lauterbach. So it is all quiet as of currently and not much is happening. It looks like we don't have to expect here any further resistance, but we can't know for sure. Yeah, it is getting a little bit boring.
Five minutes remaining.
It looks like we got into contact with enemy, but I don't see where. There we are, and they're also trying to retake the facility.
Zone lost.
So the T-72s here need to save the day. So I want to be a bit careful here, as I don't want to get stuck in some place where I don't know what I will have to expect from the rebels. So I smoke up the positions of the rebel mechanized infantry and move in with my BTR-70s. So they should be able to take them out within a flanking attack. It doesn't look like I'm getting here any resistance at the facility, so I will just move in with my T-72 platoons. And the BTR-70 Schützen were able to take out the mechanized infantry, but they are getting some further fire here from Precision Nasser. So far it's looking like there's nobody at the facility anymore, which is a bit odd. Yeah, and it looks like they already proceeded to Hill 90. So I will need to pull in emergency forces and pull in a platoon of T-72s. And it actually would also be a nice opportunity for my Mi-24s to take some action, but unfortunately I don't have the deployment points for them right now. So that sucks a little.
Zone lost. One minute remaining. Zone captured.
So Hill 90 was overrun by the forces of the Freie Republik Deutschland, which is not a nice outcome. And I'm encountering heavy counterfire here, so I retreat my T-72s back to the hill. But so far we were able to hold Lauterbach for 2 phases, so it looks like we already satisfied the win criteria for this stage of the operation. Alright, and that's it. So we were able to fend off the counterattack by the rebel forces of the Freie Republik Deutschland. We were once again able to hold Lauterbach within this phase. The only unfortunate event that happened was that we lost control of Hill 90, but so far we should have satisfied now the win criteria for this stage. And in the next phase we will likely proceed to the Vogtei Camp VEB. We will fight off the rebels at a chemical plant. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on any future video uploads of mine. Also feel free to leave a comment. It's always very interesting for me to see what my viewers liked about my videos, and also whether or not you have seen some funny things in the video that I did not notice while recording. And otherwise that's pretty much all, and I hope I will see you in my next video.